My ex-wife came over to spend time with our kids while they were on summer break, but they were out with friends, so I invited her in anyways, but one thing led to another and we ended up in bed, and it's made me realize I still love her. My ex, 47F, and I, 45M, have been divorced for 3 years and have 2 sons, Wyatt and Jack. Our split was mainly due to our kids and the different parenting styles. My ex is a genius. She's a PhD and a research scientist while I'm an analyst. She grew up with colder parents who instilled strict routine and discipline to be successful, while I grew up with a very close relationship to my parents who encouraged forming my own path in life. These two backgrounds came head to head when it came to our own kids, especially when they started school. My ex wanted them completely focused on academics, while I wanted them to live a little and let them enjoy being kids and have them figure things out on their own a little. After months of fighting, we decided that it wasn't going to work. Our split was amicable, and she actually paid way more child support than she had to, but insisted on it. We even spend Christmas and birthdays all together for the sake of our kids. Our sons primarily live with me by their own choice, and while my ex does see them about once a week, my kids are teenagers now, and sometimes they want the weekends to themselves. My older one, Wyatt, has said to me that sometimes he feels like it's my ex's own fault because of how hard she was on them. I try to remind them that she's still their mother and she was doing what she believed was best, and at the very least he owes her respect. This brings us to a few days ago. Since both kids are on break, my ex tries to stop by on the weekdays to try and see them more. She stopped by, but both kids were out with friends for the evening. She had come all the way, so I invited her in for a drink. We were just chatting and eventually we started looking at old baby photos of our kids. We had a lot of laughs until we got to one picture. It was a picture of when my sons were 6 and 2 and I had them both up on each shoulder and the 3 of us were laughing. My ex just started sobbing out of nowhere and started apologizing to me for everything. I was really confused, but I hugged her and told her that she only did what she thought was best and that she shouldn't apologize for trying to be an involved parent. We stayed there for a while, but neither of us wanted to let go. Eventually she looked up at me and her look reminded me of when we were dating. We started kissing and things escalated. It was like the 12 years of our marriage came flooding back, and during, my ex kept tearing up and telling me she loved me. She quickly left before our kids could come back, and we've been silent until today. I got a text from my ex asking if we could meet up alone to talk. What the F do I do here, guys? On one end, both my ex and I still care each other, but on the other, this whole thing could be a huge shock to not only our kids, but the rest of our families as well. Update. Hi everyone. I know it's been a little bit, but I have an update to my last post. First of all, thank you to everyone. Your guys gave some great advice and really helped me prepare for the conversation with my ex. I met up with my ex 2 days after getting the text from her. I went over to her apartment and we had a great talk. About a year after the divorce, my ex actually went to see a therapist to sort of get an understanding of where her life was. As she kept going and discussing things from her childhood, she realized she was doing the same things to our kids that her parents did to her. Things that ultimately made her resent her parents, which was why she was actually closer to my mom than her own. She teared up a bit and told me she never stopped loving me and that regardless of what a document says, I would always be her husband. My ex admitted that on the night the incident happened, she knew the boys would be out and she wanted to spend some time with me alone. When we started looking at old pictures, she got overwhelmed. She told me how much she missed me and would do anything it took to make it up and at the very least be partners again. I told her that I always cared about her and that I missed her too and that I still felt something for her. At the end of the evening, we both came to terms that we still loved each other and would give it another shot. The terms were that we take it slow and regularly attend couple counseling, as well as to not to tell the kids yet. Since then we have been spending almost every day together and we actually had our first counseling session. It went pretty well even after everything that happened, and my ex and I were really able to establish the grounds of our new/old relationship. We are going to be going to more sessions, but it's a good start. I actually hosted a family dinner a couple nights ago. While our boys still don't know about us, I made the excuse that it would be good for the 4 of us to have a meal together. And honestly, my wife really has changed. She was more open with the kids and was more interested in hearing about things like sports, hanging out with friends, and hobbies. My kids responded really well, and for the first time in a while our sons were enthusiastically engaging and connecting with their mom. She also planned a trip to the zoo for the 4 of us like we used to do when the boys were young. I think my older one got a little suspicious and rolled with it, but the fact that we have co-parented so well has been a great cover. Things are good now, and I think deep down neither of us truly fell out of love, and I think we would have eventually found our way back to each other regardless of what happened that night. Thank you guys again for all your kind words and support.